What's going on, y'all? Once again, here at the former Astroworld Hotel in Wyndham near NRG. Wrapping up the day today. Not really much as far as the book goes. Hardly anything really. We got up, and by the way, these beds have been really comfortable in this room, in this suite that we have. It's really comfortable. Um, we were thinking about it starting yesterday, and then today we decided we were going to go over to Sugarland and watch the Space Cowboys game. I had reached out to the Space Cowboys. The Astros gave me the email address of the person with Sugarland to reach out to about getting a table there at their game. They never got back to me. But we decided we'd go just to enjoy the game. And we decided that, yeah, it'd be a good idea. So we got tickets and parking. But we almost didn't get to it because yesterday we were headed to Dyken Park. Okay, we were driving along 610 here, and there was this thing that kind of came up out of nowhere on the road, kind of a big bulky thing. It's kind of, it's people drive around, stuff kind of flies around, and we ran over it essentially, right? And really didn't do anything, but except make kind of a jarring noise. So I was like, okay, didn't sound pleasant. Let's try not to do that again. We exit on the 69, Interstate 69, and a few minutes later, the oil light comes on the dashboard. So at this point, both of us, and particularly my father, he's thinking, oh crap, that caused something to happen with the oil tank, and now the car's leaking oil. That's a huge problem. Particularly now we got to get here at a certain time, and it's in crowded friggin' smack dab downtown Houston interstate traffic. When it's not lined up or anything, we're flowing, but we still don't want to have that problem. And so we were thinking, all right, we got like 3 miles. Maybe we can make it. But then we get to a point where it is kind of slowing down. So my dad says, crap again. And my father's somebody, he cannot stand car trouble. And rightfully so. I mean, it's just the feeling of kind of being stranded somewhere. You gotta have your car, especially for us. We don't live here. We live hundreds of miles that way to the east. We're not at home. So we just, there was an exit right there. We just took it. And we found a parking lot. And we looked at the car. Alright. Just as it was on the interstate, when I was looking out the mirror, there was no oil dripping out of the car. Alright, that's a good sign. Doesn't tell us everything, but it tells us something. The only thing dripping is like condensation, and maybe some coolant. Particularly when it's a hot day, that's normal. That's not a problem. Okay. So we couldn't really tell what was going on. So we decided to get back in the car, see what happens. Light didn't come back on. Went to the Astros game, came back, and got in the car, headed to Sugarland today, no problem. When we start driving to Sugarland on Highway 90, light comes on again. I was like, alright, well, I'd done some research on it. Maybe that item that we kind of ran over sort of kind of jarred the sensor. And so now it didn't sense properly at that moment, and it just kind of made it think that the oil was low, or the oil pressure was low. And so we stopped again and started it again, and then come on, and we kept going. And then it came on again after a while. And so I was like, alright, we're just going to go back to the hotel. We want to make it to the game, but at this point, we got to have this car. So we don't know if we're going to be able to make it to the game or not. But we come back here. My father calls the number after dealing with a robot, 2 robots for like 4 minutes. Finally gets a person. And they say, oh, well, if the light... And we checked the dipstick, and it looks like there was plenty of oil in it. And the lady said, oh, if there's enough oil in it, it's not low, you can still drive it for 3-4 days. We go back outside, check the dipstick again. My dad kind of wipes it off, puts it back in. Turns out it is low. So what we do, all right, it takes this kind of oil. There's an O'Reilly Auto Parts right over here. Let's go get a quart. He didn't even pour all of it in. And that seems to have done the trick, because we did go to Sugarland, went to the game, had a lot of fun. They called it after 8 innings because it started raining. I had a lot of fun there, and came back here. Has not come on since. Hopefully it won't. Tuesday we're gonna drop it off back at Hobby Airport and get out of here. That's in 2 days. All right. But at the Sugarland game, both of us wanted to go because we hadn't gone before. Back in 2021, when I was here in May that year, I wanted to go, but the team was on the road. But they were at home this time, so it was a day game. So I was like, all right. We got there around like the first inning. We got there after the game started. Okay. And so I had a lot of fun, you know. It was great, you know, to see, you know, some Astros prospects, and you know, just to watch a game, not have to make a sales pitch. You know, selling the books at the Astros game was great. Sold a lot, had a lot of fun there. But it was something else to be able to watch the game in a more intimate setting, a ballpark I hadn't seen before. It was really nice. And y'all may have already seen, because I'd also, when we had talked about going to a Space Cowboys game, I was like, it'd be really cool if I had a hat. So I did get this Sugarland hat. I like the orange button on it. And to accompany it, I found this shirt online, and I found it there too. It's kind of the rainbow design, but it's their faux back. Not throwback, but faux back. What they think they would have looked like had they existed in like the 80s. So it's really cool. I think it goes with each other pretty well. This isn't the hat that goes with this jersey that they have. And this isn't the jersey, this is just the t-shirt version. It saved me between $60 and $80, you know, just getting the shirt. But I like it. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I really like it. I think it looks really good. I think it's cool. And so tomorrow is kind of the last big hurrah while I'm here. Going to the Larry Durker Society for American Baseball Research chapter here in Houston, and presenting my book, presenting Orange Crush, the neglected 1971 Houston Astros, to that chapter. Chapter president Joe Thompson is the one who wrote the foreword for my book. The chapter special events coordinator Mike McCroskey is the one who put me in touch with Tal Smith and Larry Durker. He's going to be there. Tal Smith's going to try to watch on Zoom. Larry Durker, he's out of town this weekend for his birthday on a cruise, so we're thinking he's not going to be there. He might be there. He might come back, you know, and be in town on his birthday, but it's probably not likely. Either way, Mr. McCroskey said he'd take Tal Smith's and Larry Durker's copies of the book, so I may let him take those so I don't have to mail them or something like that. Of course, hopefully Larry Durker will be there. I really hope that he is. That would be awesome. But you know, I'm looking forward to being there, to speaking to them in person for the first time. I've spoken to them before over Zoom. Now I'm going to get to meet them in person. It's going to be really fun, really cool. And you know, tomorrow's my last full day here. I already don't want to go home. But this has been such a fun weekend, amazing weekend. I hope y'all are enjoying me keeping y'all in the loop. And y'all stay in the loop, because we're not done here yet in Houston. Thank y'all so much.